Felt great last year. I think we just have more returning guys, so that we are a little ahead in our teaching because there's some corporate knowledge built in from things we did in the past. Um, but I'm like everybody else, has butterflies and all that stuff because you're just excited to get back on the court and be with the guys. So always a fun day for everybody.
CJ and Tre both talked about the focus on defense today. How much and why was it important for you to start day one with that as the focus as opposed to anything else?
It's something we want to establish. We obviously need to make some improvement in those areas, but we just wanted to set the tone for how we want to play on that end, get some of that stuff in, and I thought it was a good competitive practice.
Usually day one of training camp, we get here and we expect to wait like several hours, but it sounds like you guys are doing like a 2-a-day structure. Is it different than last year?
We're playing with some different structures. I'm not going to reveal all my secrets that I'm doing, but we wanted to be crisp and really hard tonight, and we'll have some more stuff later today.
Do you have a second session tonight?
Not that you guys can come to. Maybe no, maybe yes.
CJ's going into year 13, and you've obviously been in the NBA for a long time, so you've overlapped with him for a long time in the NBA.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on the same team, but how excited are you to have him on the team?
Oh, obviously. I mean, played against him for many years. Like this, the ultimate pro is pro, and really tough to cover. Scheme against. To become this type of player and that consistency without a lot of work. So like he just kind of fits the type of guys we have in the building. He's been great. Really thrilled to have him here in our program.
What did you see from the young guys with the competition today on the defensive end, specifically like including Bub and Keyshawn in that group of the young guys?
Yeah, those guys set the tone. Was great. Understood what we were doing, and their communication, their physicality. They've gotten bigger and stronger, and they understand our principles, so they can go at full speed. I thought they were really good today.
What was it that you guys did today? I know it was a defensive focus. Was it one-on-one drills? Was it 5-on-5, 3-on-3?
A little bit of mixture of everything, but there was definitely some one-on-one stuff, some 5-on-5. Working on some of our shell stuff, pick and roll defense. We kind of hit a lot of different areas. It was just a mentality was the most important part, though.
I was outside waiting to be let in, and just because the door was locked. And I heard a lot of cheering, an unusual amount of cheering and hollering and stuff. How spirited was it, actually?
Spirited, yeah. That's a good thing. That's organically how our guys are. There's a great joy to them. That's really fun for all of us coaches, is that these guys are chomping at the bit to get in the game, get in the door to practice and work, and they have great enthusiasm to themselves and the camaraderie with the group. Like that stuff's just fun. So yeah, it was a competitive, enthusiastic, with some good fun moments too. So it was good, fun day.
Trace? Sorry, go ahead.
Tre had mentioned specifically for him the way that you guys want to cover defensively from what he was used to, how that's been a challenge, at least for the first day. Have you noticed anything else from a defensive standpoint of how they may cover things in college, making that shift on the defensive end in the NBA specific to what you want to do?
I think, every program and every team in the NBA kind of has their own unique way of doing stuff. So, for all of our guys who come into our program, there's always a learning curve. Even guys like CJ and Chris, when he came in, the subtleties of this. Obviously, they have tremendous experience and seen a lot of things in the NBA, but for guys like Tre and Will, Jameer, who are new, just getting the comfortability of what we're doing so they can just react. That's going to take some time, but their intensity and their focus levels was really high. So I was really pleased with all those guys.
Tre asked him about adjusting to the speed of the game, and he said the biggest adjustment has been trying to stay ahead of Bub on the court in transition, make sure he's up for the kick-ahead pass.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that and kind of how he's been adjusting to it?
It's been great. Bub plays a great pace. It's one of the reasons we really like Bub. He can push. He likes to kick the ball ahead, and I think Tre's realized if he does that, he's going to get some easy shots. And that's one of the things we want to do this year is play at a good pace and try to get that ball run off our defense.
And Tre shot really well in transition, on transition threes last year at Texas. How do you think he can fit into the fast pace that you guys try to play?
This guy is a scorer. He can make shots. That stuff will all work itself, so I'm not even worried one out about him scoring the basketball. That's what he kind of does naturally. That's why he's here.
We asked a lot about Tre, but we haven't talked too much about Jameer. What did you see from him in his first training camp practice?
What he's been doing all summer, what he did in the summer league, defensive presence, just disrupting the game, physical. This guy he's got a great experience, played for a good defensive program down at Florida State. He can imprint the game like that already. Obviously he's still learning our system. He's going to learn the NBA, but he's got a physicality to him that's pretty impressive.
Do you possibly see that being kind of what he hangs his hat on, similar to what Bilal was looked at coming into his rookie season?
For sure, I think he's one of those versatile defenders who can guard multiple positions. I think that's one of the things we liked about him, and then obviously his character, what he's about, but that's definitely one of his strengths.
What have the conversations been like with Michael and Will, just in a general sense about standards for how the team will carry itself on the court in regular season games and in practice?
It's the same as they've always been. We know where we are. We're still building. We have a standard for how we operate in our gym. I think that's something we've developed pretty well here. But we know we have some work to do. So it's how can we use each day to build the habits, to build a sustainable winner. Nothing has changed. We're always on the same page with that. So business as usual.
This is my first day of school for the 13th time, so I'd say it was fun. I understand kind of how to prepare mentally and physically, how much sleep I need, and I didn't change any diapers this morning. My wife was the hero this morning and let me scoot out early to get to the facility. But great group, a lot of energy, a lot of defensive focus, concept, shell, competitive, guys getting after it, and this is what you want. You want to embrace that youthful energy. You want to work hard. You want to teach. You want to learn. You want to be challenged. I thought Coach did a great job of challenging us today, and excited to continue to get after it.
What are your early impressions of living in D.C., and what are your thoughts of just playing here, having visited, I'm sure, many times?
Yeah, I mean, I love D.C. It's been on my list of places to live for a long time alongside my wife, so we're happy to be on the East Coast. She's from PA. I'm from Ohio, so I'm a 50-minute flight away. She's a 3-hour drive and not too far on the train. What is it? The 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗓 is about 90 minutes to Philly, so excited to be here, excited to experience so much diversity, so much culture, great food. We just got distribution here in D.C. on the wine side last week, so I'll be doing some account visits, some site visits, so I'm excited about that too. But I think it's just a great place overall, a great organization, and Will and Winger have done a great job of communicating at a high level. Coach has done a great job of communicating at a high level and just being honest and open. And I'm excited about the work, excited about the staff, and happy to be with my guy DV.
I'm sorry for not knowing this already, but can you give us a little more info on your wine, about how that started, how long that's been a thing?
Yeah, so I got drafted to Portland Trailblazers in 2013. My wife introduced me to wine in 2012. Obviously, by osmosis and just being in Oregon, I started to learn more about it. And this bartender at Ringside Steakhouse is my place where I used to go after games. They had a great happy hour menu where I could get like steak bites, fries, lemonade for like $8, which is right up my alley as a young NBA player. And I asked him to pour me an Oregon Pinot. I said I'd never had Oregon Pinot Noir before, and he poured me a Walter Scott Pinot. It was volcanic soil from Brian Keefe Vineyard, and I think I just fell in love with it. My now wife, girlfriend at the time, came to visit. I introduced her to Walter Scott, and then we began to go to wine country. We met Ken and Erica and started to learn more about wine. Fast forward a little bit, we developed a partnership with Adelsheim. I started buying fruit in 2016, 2017. We put out our first wine, a Pinot blend in 2018, and then we bought a farm in 2020. And since then, we planted 56 acres, and we had our second harvest this year. We went to the first harvest. Second harvest, I had to be in D.C. With the trade, so we had to cut our trip short. But we distribute in about 5 states right now. We'll be at 11 states by January 1st, and are expanding, and just excited about the work that we put in. We own and operate it, and it's for our legacy, it's for our family, and we make a great product. We got a really good winemaker. It's all live, sustainable. We hand pick, no machines.
So where is the vineyard? Is it in the Oregon Valley?
Yeah, it's in the Willamette Valley. It's in Carlton. We border Resonance, which is Louis Jadot's first property in the United States.
Why? I'm a Pinot fan, so
You
that's
like
what I'm
Pinot?
asking.
I'll
I'm in full disclosure, I've actually been trying to get yours, but because it's not distributed here,
It is now.
I haven't been able to get it.
It is now. So if you got some places you think it should be, let me know. We'll do account visits this week. But I think Pinot was smooth. It was elegant. I like mine with a little bit of complexity, higher in acidity. You get some of those herbaceous scents, a little bit of that French oak. So we do 10 to 12 months in French oak, depending on the wine. And now we're kind of over vintaging, so we're doing about 18 months in French oak. But I love the taste of it. I think that we make a Pinot that's good on its own. It's good by itself, and something that can also complement food. But Oregon is known for Pinot and Chard. And I think our farm does a great job of producing, those wines specifically, but also other wines as well.
You've mentioned David Vanderpool a few times. Can you kind of expand on your relationship with him and what he's meant to you and what it means to reunite with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the reasons why I had so much success early in my career. Me and DV and Dame, we were stuck at the hip every day. He was getting me up early, especially when I wasn't playing. When I was rehabbing, similar to what Bilal's doing now. Sitting in a chair shooting because I broke my foot the last day of training camp. Get me in the gym. I remember us getting 900 made threes a day, just little stuff and big stuff in terms of how to see the floor, how to see the game, challenging me to be a leader, challenging me to talk more, communicate. I remember one time he told Dame, you have to say six words before you cross half court, like just to kind of work on like leadership, talking, communicating, and just like those little gems that he gave us throughout our career was extremely insightful, extremely helpful. Obviously, he had a great pro career, good man, someone that you can follow. So like I've just always respected him. We've been around each other for a long time, and even when I got traded and he left to go to I think it was Brooklyn, we always stayed in contact and would hang out, get dinners and stuff like that. So he knows my game, he knows how I play, he knows how to get me going, and I'm excited to just be able to continue to build.
Given that you have been so used to being a part of playoff teams, when you get traded to a team that's beginning a rebuild or in an early stage of a rebuild, what steps does a team take to try to communicate to you that they're trying to do things the right way?
I think it's a very honest conversation that you have, but then you also provide feedback, based on your experience, based on staff, based on the organization and the structure. Obviously, the resources that they've been able to provide us with have been, above and beyond, I would say, based on my experiences in past situations and what I've heard across the league. They're taking steps in the right direction in terms of accountability, in terms of structure, foundation, and how they're building. Obviously, the wins and losses haven't always been in favor the last few years, but I think there are some wins you can get within those losses where players are developing, players are getting better. You mix in the right, types of vets. You have the right type of staff for development, for training. These guys work. These guys are putting the extra time in. So it's only a matter of time before the losses turn into wins and the younger players become more mature, experienced NBA players.
You touched on yesterday the things that you had heard about the organization prior in your career, of things that have been said throughout the NBA. Now that you're in it, I know it's still very early, to your point you just made, are you starting to see how the shift is happening from what you had heard before?
Very organized, a lot of structure, a lot of staff, probably the most staff I've seen. Just in general, always resources readily available. I like to shoot at night, I like to work on the weekend, so just seeing staff always here, willing to help out. Guys that are in shape. I played against Ashton Gibbs, right, when he was at Pittsburgh. I played against Shabazz. I played with Shabazz, like a really competitive staff. I played against Alexi. So it's really cool just to see the depth of the staff, to see the organization, the structure, how they communicate in the front office, how the players and coaching staff communicate, how the athletic trainers, PTs. There's just a really great dialogue, open communication, and individualized plan for each of the players, which is important. We don't all have the same bodies, we don't all have the same career trajectory, we don't all have the same past experiences. So it's very important that I'm getting what I need specifically and independently, and that the guy that's 6'6" is getting a different type of treatment as well.
Did you play against Jason as well too?
Yes.
Yes. Is there any other connections amongst the staff that you have had outside of DV?
I mean, I've come in contact with all of these guys in one way or another.
Not to that extent.
Yeah, I think Cody went to Cornell, if I'm not mistaken, Topper. TC was on our staff in Portland. I think he's with the G League staff. So there's a lot of synergy and familiar faces around. We got some front office people here that were in New Orleans when I was there as well.
How did Tre Johnson and Will Riley do in their first training camp practice?
I think they're both going to be really good. Obviously, Tre's skilled. He can shoot the ball. He's got good size. He's a worker. He loves the game, and he's not afraid. And that's what you want out of your rookies. There's going to be good nights and bad nights, but I think he's got a bright future. Will is fearless. He's long. He's athletic. He's got a good skill set. And he's going to continue to grow and develop. And obviously, it's early. We had one practice. A lot of defense, not a lot of scrimmaging and things of that nature. But I think they're both going to have impactful careers for sure, but continue to learn and grow this season.
In your own words, what can you contribute to this team in the locker room and on the court?
Yeah, I just think that my approach in terms of my professionalism, obviously the skill set is what it is, but in terms of how I approach the game every day, the knowledge that I have, the experience that I have, and as a veteran guy, but that can still score the ball, but can still, work out with guys. I can play ones. I can still do all of that stuff, but have, years of experience, I think, is invaluable. I think from a educational standpoint, like there's got a lot of young guys who are learning and growing and figuring out themselves and going to continue to explore not only their games but things they like off the court. I mean, I can help provide resources, information, knowledge, just a voice or an ear to listen. So I think it's pretty prevalent what I can provide on the court. It's this 12 years of playing at a high level, but I think it's the other stuff that's important too, especially when you have young talent. Like, you need vets that can still hoop. You know what I mean? Like, around as well.
How much of a point of pride is it for you to have this sticking power in the NBA? Because like you mentioned, it's your 13th first day of school, and you're going to get a lot of minutes for this team. You're probably going to start day one. So how much pride does that give you?
No, I'm just grateful, man. I don't take the game for granted, and I was talking to my wife about it today. Like, I woke up, I was a little tired, baby was crying, and my wife was holding me down, and I was just like, it's a blessing to be able to go to work, to be able to play this sport. There's a lot of great players that aren't on the roster today, and it's a testament to hard work. It's a testament to my faith and taking care of business, but also a little bit of luck. In this life, I think the harder you work, the more lucky you get, but I want to be able to walk away from this game on my terms, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be forced out, and I think that's what drives me. My family's what drives me, obviously my kids, my legacy, and I want to maximize my talents. I'm fortunate to be able to play the game. I still can move, I still can shoot, and I want to utilize these talents until they're gone.
I enjoyed it a lot. Just the competition, a lot of defense. I feel like that's needed in the early stages of a team.
What elements of it did you expect, and what elements maybe caught you just a little off guard, considering this is your very first training camp practice?
I wouldn't say anything threw me off guard. I kind of knew going into it there's going to be a lot of defense. It was real competition towards the end. I kind of enjoyed that part, but I don't think it was nothing I didn't expect going into it.
I remember I asked you at Vegas about your defense. There were a couple of games in Vegas where you were really getting after the ball in the defensive end. How much of a learning curve has it been going from the SEC to the NBA? Obviously, the early stages of the NBA and how they defend as a team.
SEC, they let you do whatever. Literally, I saw it. I felt it firsthand, and I was doing it firsthand. So, like, they let you do whatever in the SEC, and kind of, especially as a rookie in the NBA, especially guarding certain players, you got to do certain things. We was talking about it. Me and Top was talking about it, just different things in different areas, how you can guard and get stops. So I feel like it's a little bit more learning about putting my body in different positions, I say. So I feel like that's the biggest part.
Are there any players in the NBA who you're excited to go up against offensively and defensively?
Really anybody. I don't know if there's anybody I want to go against more, but my plan is to play all 82, so I'm trying to go against everybody.
Where's your understanding at in terms of like the plays and the actions, given you had such a head start being in the building since months ago?
Yeah, we've been doing kind of the same actions overall, kind of incorporated them in my workout so I know where like my shots would come from or where I'd be out on the court, knowing different things to do. So I'm still learning them, and it's still adding new stuff, but just paying attention has been big.
What have you learned from CJ McCollum in your short time being with him?
Just his pace. One thing I learned before, a few practices before this one, he was he's moving at 70% speed. Like, he's not going to go 100 unless he needs to, or even slower than that. So if he can score going 40, he's going to go 40. But if he has to go 100, that's when he's going to use it.
When it comes to the defense side, because I know you talked about how today you guys were focusing on that end of the floor, what do you think, if anything, was maybe the biggest challenge for you, at least for today?
I'd say biggest challenge is learning the X outs, because in college, we'd usually it doesn't really matter how you are on the court. It's nearest guy go, and now it's you don't X out and cross court. If you on that side, it's just the two guys on that side to change out. So I feel like that's the biggest thing for me. It's so much caught in my mind. Even in high school, we'd even cross up top. But here it's just, if you on that side, it's just y'all two. So that's probably the biggest thing for me.
So just getting out of that natural habit of what you were used to doing,
Yeah.
and now flipping it to try to get into a new habit?
Most definitely. That's probably the biggest change.
Has there been any adjustment to the NBA three-point line?
Nah, not really. Not really. Trying to shoot 4-pointers.
When was the last, at what stage of your growth did you have your shooting motion similar to what it is now?
I feel like I always kind of had it how it is. Like I always had good touch, always been able to shoot. But I say I got like more in depth with it. Like my junior year of high school, it was probably as good as it is now. Probably when I was a senior at Link, that's probably like when I was peaking around that with my form and stuff like that. Just being intentional about it.
I ask because a lot of the people who watch you play and scouted you, etc., say that your motion is tailor-made for this league.
Yeah.
Which is not something that a lot of young guys coming into the league, that's not often said about them, frankly. So that's why that was asked.
Yeah.
Which coach or coaches have you kind of been working with a lot in individual work?
I'm working out with all of them. I gotta worked out with at least every coach at least once, but mainly been working out with like JJ or Pete. Those have been like the main two I get on the court with.